Hi, my name is Laquana Mumford, and I am here to talk to you about the knowledge that I've attained here at Southern University at New Orleans. I started Southern University in 2019, fall of 2019, and my first two teachers that I started off with was Dr. Darby and Dr. Cade. I completed courses child psychology, teach reading, and diverse learners. That was my first semester there, and I enjoyed it. Dr. K was a really good teacher. I enjoyed how she allowed us to do our own learning from the other students. We had a lot of mixed students, seniors, juniors, sophomores in the classroom, and she allowed a lot of people to come in and teach their own lesson. So we did phonetics, phonemes, different things like that, and then we were able to go in front of the classroom and teach how do you do a lesson on phonemes, or how do you do a lesson on phonological awareness, or CVC words, blending, things like that. She also gave out small children books. The book that I had was The Three Little Pigs, and we had to go and read that book and then talk about the different sounds and the words that we were able to pull based on the children that we were teaching. So that was a really, really fun exercise. Another thing that I did with that first semester was with Dr. Darby's Diverse Learners course. We did role play. It was the more of a response to intervention skit with the other classmates, and we role played. We did, one person was the student, one person was the teacher, one person was the, what was it? Almost like the, I'm not going to say psychologist, more like the disciplinarian. So everybody was able to play their role, and we were going to write out a response and a behavioral assessment based on how the child responded and act in the classroom. I also had child psychology that year as well, learning the different growth and development of children from infancy all the way through adolescent, and how they grow, respond to social and emotional development, as well as cognitive skills what cognitive skills they learn, and how they learn it, and how they function with being in the classroom, or if there are special needs, different things like that. Just making sure we learn all the different learning stages through child psychology. My next semester, I did educational psychology, intro to communication, and fundamentals of public speaking. I absolutely enjoyed Dr. Marshall. He was an excellent teacher. I didn't think that I would like the communications and the fundamentals of speaking, but it was a really, really good course. He made it very, very easy, because a lot of people don't like to speak in front of people, but he was making sure that we didn't use those and made sure that we did a certain amount of time. We did different calls to actions, and one of my call to actions was the school system in Jefferson Parish, and why I felt like they didn't need to combine kindergarten and eighth grade, and how some parents, teachers, and um, I'm sorry, I just did the parents, teachers, and people in the community need to go out and rally to say why they feel like things should and shouldn't happen in their community. So that was one of the things I did do in my communications course. I did school and family. I did fundamentals of curriculum development. One of my favorites were my classroom management and organization, and tech and media and education with Dr. Stanley, Professor Stanley. I'm not sure if she's a doctor yet. I do apologize, but I feel like she's an awesome teacher. I do like how she did everything that was hands on. Everything that I feel like we did in her class is something that I can use when I am a teacher. Absolutely. We did things like create Google Classrooms. We uploaded documents to Google Classroom. We did materials. We we created a Google site. I was able to give introductions about myself, and one of the things that I did on my Google site was future a site for future teachers, where if you have any questions about taking the Praxis 1 or 2, or if you had any information about schools that might be hiring, or information that you just wanted to know as a teacher, that website was available to you to be able to find that information. Because I feel like as a teacher, we don't, as a teacher in training, we don't have that information. And that's one thing that I've always advocated for, to be able to do some type of outreach, communication, networking, to be able to go to other people and say, hey, do you have this information? Can you share it? And then how we go about sharing it. Another thing that we did with the organization was how you organize your classroom, making sure that you have books set up in one area, things that students will constantly use in another area. It was something else that I wanted to point out as well. Oh, how to create PowerPoint slides, add voice recordings to videos. I talked about the Google Classroom, setting due dates. We created a Kahoot quiz. That was something else that we did. We used material from the course that she gave us, and we were able to create quizzes in order for the children to use it as a game. It was a Kahoot game that children was able to use to answer the questions correctly. And then that was another thing that I uploaded onto my Google Classroom as well. My reading practicum and diagnostic reading courses with with Professor Bursey was just like with Dr. K. The phonemic awareness and the phonological awareness. We did RTI with 3 tiers: the response to intervention, progress monitoring, and how you monitor them from the beginning. You assessed it in the middle, and then you finalize everything in the end and say if they're making the progress, and then if things need to be changed, you're making the proper changes. Things like that. What else? And I hope I'm not forgetting something. Professor Bordenave, her research class was really, really good. The topic that I researched was, what was it? Students, TV time in students and how it affects their cognitive function. So I have a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I also wanted to know that information for myself to say how much screen time they're supposed to have at that age. And it wasn't good. So I need to do a better job as a parent. My methods, math and science with Professor Brokaj was really, really good. A lot of things that we did with her was things that was hands-on, things that I would be able to use in the classroom with teaching math and things like that. Also with Professor Hegwood. Professor Hegwood gave us so much work. She gave us tons and tons and tons and tons of work. But every single assignment that she gave us, I've saved so that I can be able to refer back to it. My difficult part was the lesson plans. I've done lesson plans in my sleep from the time I woke up to the time that I went to bed. Lesson plan, lesson plan, lesson plan. Always lesson plans. A lesson plan for everything. She had us reading stories, doing video presentations, reading it, talking about the book, and how we would do it as if we were in the classroom. We also did different assessments with different questions that we would have to ask students if we were teaching it to them. Another thing that I did with Professor Stanley was the assessments as well. She had us do different questions. What else did we do with Professor Stanley? I know I'm forgetting something. But just teaching a lesson, or we did graphic organizers. We did field trip, creating a whole field trip. I did a field trip to the World War II Museum, and how I would go about having children do a scavenger hunt while they were there to be able to find different things to kind of make it interesting. We created syllabuses. We created Welcome to my classroom for Dr. Stanley, for Professor Stanley as well. Oh, another thing I want to point out too is I have this binder that I've created through my whole little time here at the school. And I don't know if you can read it, but this is where I have saved all of the things that I have learned. Because one thing I've learned as a teacher, I may not know every single thing right now, but I do know the internet is full of resources. I have learned that we have always done research, going online, finding different information to be able to assist our students and assess their knowledge. So I do plan on you holding onto this binder, using it, storing information in it, because there's so many different tools, information that has been shared, handouts that has been given, websites that have been shared, different tools like Dibbles and Reading Rocket, Learning Fluency. It's so many websites. Learn Zillion. So many different things that I have been taught that I can't even speak about in this video, but I do want to remember every single thing, and I do have this binder to be able to refer back to everything. That way when I am a teacher, when I am in the classroom, I can go back and say, oh, I remember that lesson plan that I did with Professor Stanley or with Professor Hegwood, to say, hey, I know how to do this, and I know how to share this with my students. Or that welcome letter that I created, I can go and use it when I'm ready. And just all the different tools that I've learned, all the knowledge that I've gained. I have had absolutely wonderful teachers throughout this whole journey, and I'm sad that it's ending, but I'm going to enjoy my road ahead. Thank you guys for this video and this opportunity. Have a good day. Bye bye.